Alrighty, we are going to get started. Hello, everybody. If you can hear me, would you mind just putting a yes in the chat so I know we're all good to get started? Awesome. Great. Thank you all so much for joining us for our self-care webinar series, Coping Through COVID-19. Please remember to mute yourselves, but of course, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to use the chat box feature, or you can temporarily unmute yourselves as well. So for tonight's webinar, we are going to be focusing on secrets to sleeping better. So my name is Marissa Mazer. I'm a graduate assistant for NIU Student Wellness, which is a part of counseling and consultation services. Tonight I have Myra joining me. She is our lovely peer educator on our wellness crew. And both of our pronouns are she, her, and hers. So a little bit of an agenda for tonight. Today we will be discussing sleep and really understanding it. So why do we need it? How much do we need per night? And what factors influence quality sleep? We'll also be touching upon napping, so the best way to nap and the pros and cons of it. We'll also be discussing what I like to call the 3 C's, so college, COVID, and care. And when I say care, I do mean self-care. So really just sleep as it relates to all those things. In order to be academically successful, you need to be getting adequate sleep per night. And getting adequate sleep per night directly impacts your well-being and your health. And with the coronavirus pandemic, it may be difficult to engage in your wellness at this time. So we just really want you to view sleep as self-care to help you stay healthy and well. Lastly, of course, going over some tips and resources to help you reach your sleep goals. So really just some objectives. The overall goal of this presentation is to recognize sleep as a self-care strategy during college careers and COVID-19. So by the end of this presentation, you will be able to understand why we need sleep and the benefits of naps. You will also be able to identify factors that affect sleep quality and identify tips in getting adequate sleep per night. Lastly, you'll be able to implement these sleep management strategies in your daily routine.
Hi everyone, can everyone hear me? Oh, you can just type it out in the chat too. All right, so let's dive into understanding sleep. So why sleep? Why we need sleep? How much sleep is needed, and what influences sleep? And we're also gonna dive into insomnia. So why do we need sleep? Well, sleep has at least 2 biological purposes. The first one is conservation of energy, which helps us be ready and rested to perform high performance in daylight hours. Secondly is restoration. This is so neurotransmitters that have been depleted during waking hours have been replenished. And this process clears the brain to prepare for the new day. For instance, getting enough sleep to feel ready to meet daily challenges is a big key factor in physical and psychosocial health. And sleep helps you remember what you have learned. So now let's talk about how much sleep do we need. It is recommended to obtain about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night to feel well rested and for our bodies to perform properly. And if people constantly fail to meet these recommended goals, They can have poor performance in school or problems in school and can have difficulty paying attention and controlling emotions, which can be very common among students. The need for sleep is genetically based and it's different from person to person. It is controlled by circadian rhythm, which is a light dependent 24-hour cycle that regulates the body and mind. So there are some factors that affect sleep quality. One of them can be caffeine. So one should try to limit the intake and not have any within 4 hours of going to bed. Another one can be alcohol. Try avoiding taking alcohol late in the evening because it can cause you to wake up during the night. Exercise is also a factor into sleep quality, as is during the day it is good, but try avoiding exercising within 4 hours of going to bed. And then heavy food can also cause sleep quality to decrease, as it can cause sleep disruption when eat too close to bedtime. And stimuli. Try to sleep in a room where the bedroom's cool, quiet, and dark, and the best as you can, so that way you can sleep as best as you can. And anxiety. If you tend to have a lot of worries piled up at the end of the day, try writing them down and mentally releasing yourself from them before going to sleep, so that way you can have an adequate amount of sleep, and it can be also like it can be quality sleep. All right, so now let's move on to insomnia. This is important to discuss when we talk about sleep, as insomnia is difficulty in falling asleep or staying asleep. That is common among 20 to 40% of Americans, and it is more common in women than men. The prevalence is correlated with age and low social economic status. And now let's move on to napping, the benefits, drawbacks, and tips for napping. Some of the benefits for napping are relaxation, which can make you cause you to feel more calm. Reduce fatigue will help you not feel so groggy throughout the day. Increased alertness will help you focus a lot better, and it will improve your mood, which will make you feel more happy and in a good mood. It'll also improve performance. It can either academically or physically. It can, so that way you are able to take on more in the day, and you can have a quicker reaction time and better memory. You'll be able to recall information better and more efficiently. But there are some drawbacks of naps. For instance, sleep inertia. You might feel groggy and disoriented after waking up from a nap, especially if it lasts more than the recommended time of 20 to 30 minutes. And it can cause nighttime sleep problems because long naps might interfere with the length and quality of nighttime sleep. If you experience insomnia or poor sleep quality at night, napping might even worsen these problems. And so now we talked about the drawbacks, let's talk about the best way to nap. One of the best ways to nap is to keep your nap short. Naps should be among 10 to 30 minutes long. If they are longer, you are more likely to feel groggy afterward. And it is recommended to be done in the afternoon, like mid-afternoon, around 2 or 3 p.m. Naps during these times are less likely to interfere with nighttime sleep. And the environment is also very important when taking a nap, as it should be a restful, quiet, dark, and comfortable room temperature kind of place, and it shouldn't have a lot of distractions. So now let's go on to our next topic, which is this little chart about how long to nap. So if you can, as you can see, if you sleep around 20 minutes, you'll have an energy boost and you'll easily wake up. You won't have any grogginess. As compared to 30 minutes, you'll have a slightly grogginess when you wake up. And also with like the 1 hour and 90-minute nap. So for like an hour and 30-minute nap, you will go through the full REM cycle, in which will cause you to have dreams and your creativity will improve. And if it's for an hour, you'll have a short-term memory that improves, but you'll have some slight grogginess. So now I'll hand it off to Marissa, and she'll be talking about the 3 C's.
All right, hello everyone. So yes, as Myra said, I'll be diving into the 3 C's, which really just stands for college, COVID-19, and care. And again, when I say care, I do mean self-care. All righty. So according to NIU students surveyed, 71% do not get enough sleep 4 or more nights. 10% did not get enough sleep any night. 90% have some problems with sleepiness during the daytime. 62% felt tired, dragged out, or sleepy during the day on 3 or more days in the past week. And lastly, 65% went to bed at least once in the previous week because of not being able to stay awake any longer. As you can see, sleeping is a struggle as a college student, or perhaps you're a faculty member on a college campus, or just working in general. Either way, it can be difficult to obtain adequate sleep per night or to even stick to a routine. So our hope is really that with the next section, we can provide you all with resources and tips to improve your sleep during this time and really just bring awareness to sleep in general. All right, so now for the COVID piece of the 3 C's. With being such an unprecedented time, there's lots of changes coming on so quickly. It's understandable that the importance of sleep is flying under the radar. I know it has for me personally. But as we adjust to stay-at-home orders and try to remain healthy in a time of COVID-19, focusing on sleeping well offers tremendous benefits, as we discussed in previous slides. Sleep is really critical to physical health and effective functioning of the immune system. It's also a key promoter of emotional wellness and mental health, which will help to beat back stress, depression, and anxiety. And according to the Sleep Foundation, experts agree that getting consistent, high-quality sleep improves virtually all aspects of health, which is why it's worthy of our attention during the coronavirus pandemic. All in all, we want you to all view sleep as self-care. Sleep empowers an effective immune system, it heightens our brain function, it enhances our mood, improves mental health, and combats stress. So engaging in adequate sleep will help you to feel better and improve your wellness overall. So now let's dive into some sleep tips, as well as some resources. So some steps that you can take, as well as resources to utilize. So whether you've had sleeping problems before COVID-19, or if they've only come on recently, there are concrete steps that you can take to improve your sleep during this global pandemic. So some tips: establish a bedtime routine. If you know that, you have to be up by 7 a.m. So you're kind of scheduling, all right, I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock so I can make sure to get the 9 hours, let's say. Go ahead and just try to stick to that routine. Of course, it's a trial and error type of thing. Figure out what works best for you, but really just kind of thinking about, okay, I need to be up at this time, so that means I need to be in bed at this time. Also, determine your ideal sleep environment. As Myra explained, maybe you sleep better in a cool, dark environment, or for me personally, I sleep better when I have the TV on. So I like to have the TV on when I sleep. Also, avoid screens or turn down brightness about 30 minutes before bedtime. That's because the blue light feature on phones will actually disrupt your sleep. So I know on smartphones, especially for iPhone, which is what I have, you can actually set a timer to have a night shift go on. So mine is typically set between like 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And that takes away that blue light, so it doesn't disrupt my sleep later on at night. If you can't fall asleep, try to get up for a little bit and do a quiet activity. So maybe that means just like walking around the house a little bit. Maybe that means just doing some light reading, anything to kind of just wind the mind down and get you ready to go back to sleep. It's important to avoid the use of nicotine, alcohol, and drugs, as those actually can affect your sleep quality, as Myra mentioned, and lead you to not getting adequate sleep throughout the night. Also, getting regular exercise and physical activity is super important. I like to view this as a domino effect. So if we're being active, we're exercising, we're releasing those endorphins, we feel really good, but we're using that energy. So we're able to kind of wind down better later in the day. Therefore, we're able to sleep better. And when we sleep better, we can academically perform better or just perform better throughout our day. So I really like to just view that as a domino effect in my head because it makes sense, and it really tells me that, okay, getting that exercise in the early part of the day will help me to sleep better later on at night. Engaging in all of these tips will help you to increase the number of restful sleeps, decrease daytime sleepiness, decrease negative sleep behaviors, as well as decrease academic interference, which is all what we would love to do in our life. So, all right, let's go on over to our resources. So, Calm. Calm is an app, and it is actually rated the #1 app for sleep and meditation. They also have sleep stories as well. If you maybe enjoyed that as a kid, or just know that that's something that really calms you down or helps you to drift off into sleep, that is a great resource as well. There's also Headspace. This is my personal favorite. It is a mindfulness and meditation app, but they have a specific section that focuses directly on sleep. So sometimes I'll just go there, I'll click on the sleep section, and they'll have like mantras or meditations that I can use. They also do like full body scans to help you relax. So definitely some great resources there. Then we have Sleep Cycle. That Sleep Cycle allows you to track your sleep and help improve it as well. So if you're one that is wanting to really stick to a routine and kind of track, when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, stuff like that, then that would be the app to use. NapBot is very similar, just kind of more of a focus on naps. So tracking your naps and helping to improve it as well. I also recommend the CDC is a great resource. They have a whole page dedicated to sleep, as well as YouTube. I use YouTube a lot to help with my sleep. They have a ton of meditations that are free. You can go on there and really just type in sleep videos, sleep meditation, sleep stories, and there's a ton of stuff on there. I will actually leave these 2 links in the chat at the end of the presentation. So if anybody wants to utilize them, you definitely can. The YouTube link is just a very short sleep meditation from Headspace as well. So I'll make sure to leave that in the chat for you guys. And all of these resources are either free, or they have a free trial, or they have a student discount. So that's all really, really nice. Alrighty, so any questions about anything that we covered today? I'll go ahead and look out for the chat box. But thank you so much for being here. Please, if you have a moment, take a second to complete our quick survey. I do have the QR code here on the screen, but I'll go ahead and actually leave the link for that in the chat, as well as the other links and of resources. So I will stop sharing for a brief moment. Go ahead and add that in the chat here.